I'm going to invite our next speaker, Mr. Vic van VUUREN, Director of International Labour Organization Enterprise Department and Chair of the United Nations Interagency Task Force on Social Solidarity Economy, an important organization aiming at raising the visibility of social solidarity economy and their positive contribution in the achievement of sustainable development goals. Thank you very much for your participation. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much from a cold and rainy Geneva in Switzerland. Thank you for this opportunity to discuss the social and solidarity economy. You know, the world has been profoundly affected by the pandemic, and we hear this over and over, and we hear of loss of lives, closure of businesses. It's really in our face. And this is a human tragedy. And so when we start talking about recovery of the economy, we talk about recovery of businesses, reactivation of businesses, we need to recognize that we're talking of a human-centered approach that has to be the focus of what we do as we go forward. And this is something which is going to need a refocusing of the way we talk about businesses in general. You know, at the moment, we're predicting that there's going to be a loss of 495 million jobs, the equal of that. And that's a huge amount that's going to be lost. We have to now start looking at a joint process of looking at the four capitals. We need to look at people, we need to look at societies, we need to look at business acumen and how we get the economic side of things going, and we need to look at the environmental component. We cannot take each one of these on their own. You know, even before the pandemic, we were dealing with a huge social deficit, and this social deficit has not been reduced over time, and hence we have the Sustainable Development Goals. But we haven't made a huge dent into the social deficit. And it's not by accident that the social and solidarity economy is linked to the Sustainable Development Goals, because it's one of those vehicles that has a value proposition that deals with all four of these capitals that I'm talking about. And so the social and solidarity economy has a key role to play in the recovery process as we move ahead and to deal with the pandemic as it is at the moment. But there's a big challenge that we have. First of all, at the global level, the social and solidarity economy does not command the space that it should have in terms of its occupation of activities in countries. Secondly, in the developing economies, there isn't an adequate framework. So what we're finding during this pandemic is that those that are suffering are usually at the moment are those who are vulnerable and the social enterprises. Why? Because they fall out of the ambit of the recovery packages that are being put on the table. And so the cornerstone of the solution is going to be that governments have to take a serious look at how to put in place a regulatory framework for the short term and the long term of how the social enterprises can function and play a vital role in bringing back some well-being to individuals and to organizations. At the UN Task Force, which consists of 14 UN agencies and a number of observers, we have looked at some key global activities that we want to promote. The first one is to support governments who are looking for a UN resolution on the social and solidarity economy. This will enable this topic to be put on the agenda at the government level across the globe. The second one that we're looking at is we need to find a good example of how to enable countries to use the social and solidarity economy more effectively. And to this end, we've put together a proposal called the SSE, which is Social and Solidarity Economy, for the SDGs. And we're now having a discussion with the European Commission and other possible sponsors who will work with us in piloting this in a number of countries. So we'll work with the country, putting into place a regulatory framework. We'll look at access to finance. We'll look at all of those components that are necessary for a social enterprise to start up and to exist. Then we need to look at the education system. Our students that are coming out of the schools don't know enough about the value of the social and solidarity economy, neither in the universities. So we're creating a knowledge hub, which will be an access of information to people that can learn about the social and solidarity economy. And we want to look at ways and means that we can add this to the curricula of the schools and the universities globally in a much stronger way than it is currently being portrayed. And then we want to look at the local economic development areas, so that we're looking at the global level right down to the economic development within countries. And we're going to look at initiatives to support the local economic development programs. Now, I've said a mouthful, I sound like a preacher, but for us, we believe that the social and solidarity economy is a vital component to building back better and greener, but it needs specific attention. And we look to the countries that have got solid frameworks in place and that are successes. And many of these examples have been given in today's webinar, that we need to take those examples to those who are battling. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your intervention. I visited recently, and the important research that the UN Interagency Task Force is doing in the field. And recently I also visited the Knowledge Hub on Social Solidarity Economy, and I found a community currency case study on community currency programs as a tool for sustainable development that we would like to share within our platform as a good practice in the field also of promoting the use of local currencies with the support of social solidarity economy actors in order to create a greater impact of the social services provided by the public authorities. And this is actually the main aim of this roundtable, to launch as well a partnership at not only at Mediterranean, but why not in a global level, in exchanging this knowledge and research and initiatives that are implementing by various organizations in favor of enabling a better regulatory environment for the social solidarity sector, and giving a greater visibility of the positive impact that they can contribute.